Whenever we are choosing a partner to invest into Zomato or Gabit, it is like almost like choosing like a co-founder. The person has to have belief in the product because we all know this is a super difficult journey. We're all crazy to be founders and be founders again, right? Because it is, I say this like the being a founder is the best thing you can do to yourself and the worst thing you can do to yourself. So I think the fact that we love it so much that we do it, you need people who believe in you and will stand by you in all the times that the journey would go through.
Hey guys, welcome to VNTR podcast. And today we are hosting Gaurav Gupta, founder and CEO at Gabit. Hey Gaurav, welcome. Good to see you again. Maybe you can start with a quick introduction.
Hi, Yuri. Of course, good to see you again and glad to be on the podcast. Hi, everyone. My name is Gaurav Gupta. I'm based out of India. I've been into building startups for the last 10, 12 years now. My first startup was Zomato. It's India's largest food delivery app and now a publicly listed company with a market cap of $33 billion. So it's done really well. I was the founder and chief operating officer for Zomato, and I led the IPO roadshow in 2021 in COVID, and now building Gabit. Gabit is a take on good habits, is one word for good habits. And as you can imagine, good habits leads to good health. So Gabit is a longevity platform with a high focus on tracking health markers and biomarkers, but then going beyond that as well and using experts and products to help people improve their health. So it's designed as a full health ecosystem, and I'm right now enjoying building Gabit for the last 3 years.
And that's amazing. Yeah, so maybe we can start with your entrepreneurial journey. How did it start? How did you join Zomato and what did you do before that?
Yeah, so I've done engineering. So I'm a chemical engineer from one of the premium institutes in India. It's called Indian Institute of Technology, and then I also did my MBA from Institute of Management, Calcutta, in India itself, where I actually met my wife. So we were batchmates. So it's a very important era of my life. After that, I joined consulting. So I did management consulting, Yuri, for almost 10 years with Carney. And I used to work in consumer industries and retail a lot. So I used to love consumer. So work with a lot of clients in the consumer industry space. But my real passion was modern retail. And in 2008 to 2013, modern retail was just coming to India. So I had the opportunity to actually work with large corporate groups in India trying to set up retail formats. So I set up supermarkets, hypermarkets, large format stores for my clients, ran it for them, and I just used to love it. So I did that in India, Southeast Asia, a little bit in the US as well. And then by chance, I actually met Dipinder, who's the founder of Zomato. He started Zomato in 2008. I met him in 2015. And we just got talking, and I just got excited with what he was building. And I left everything and decided to join him to build Zomato. Till that time, Zomato was just a search and discovery app for restaurants. So you can imagine it's like the Yelp of India. And we hadn't done anything beyond that. And after that, together, me and Deepika, we built out all the current avatar of Zomato that you see today. So food delivery transactions, dining out transactions, loyalty programs. We also built a raw material supply business for restaurants called Hyperpure. It's equivalent to like a Cisco in the US. And of course, then COVID came in. We had our own journey through COVID, and we felt very good about the business at the end of the last phase of COVID, and we actually decided to list Zomato publicly, and yeah, that's been the journey.
Good decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you joined, it was one founder, and how big was the team
So when
at
I
that time?
joined, it was mostly search and discovery platform. There was yes, two founders at that time, and the team would have been maybe like 300, 400 people.
Oh, fairly big. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
And
cool.
we actually had a search and discovery platform in actually 23, 24 markets, including
Mhm.
Portugal.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but it was a profitable ad revenue led business, but that's about it. But it was not growing as much, or compared to what we see in food delivery in India now, relatively, of course, it was a different kind of business.
And what is the journey when you join a team with two co-founders and such a big team already? How did you come inside? and become a co-founder at some point.
Yeah, so that was also interesting. So it's very funny. When I joined for no role. So it was the role was called global growth, which means like do anything and everything that needs to be done for growing the business. So and that was the first time Zomato got somebody from the outside into Zomato to help build Zomato. And I think honestly, in the first 6 8 months, it was a discovery phase for me. I was trying to understand how this world operates because I was coming from a consulting setup, very structured. You exactly know what's going to happen in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And here it was very agile, more like you think, you build, you keep thinking while you're building, and so on and so forth. But I think after this first 6 8 months, I got a hang of it, and the good thing was since I brought in outside perspective, I was also able to add a lot to Zomato as well in terms of what we could do differently. And after that, it was just a crazy journey. So what I figured was that I literally always thought from the very beginning that I was building my own thing, right? And I think that showed in how I took decisions, how I moved. So literally helped build like the entire part of Zomato after that. So like the food review business, then we did the advertising business, which was already there. Then we launched a loyalty program, which was very successful. Then the raw material supply business, and we also launched a table reservation business, and was using doing fundraise as well, investor relations, people, so almost anything and everything. And then while on this journey, we just thought, why not just formalize it? And honestly, I think formalizing or becoming a co-founder or a founder was fine for me, and it was of course great for me. But the best thing that we saw was that it drove a very different kind of inspiration in the entire Zomato at that time. So this is 2019, and people started asking questions that can you actually come from the outside and become a founder? How does that happen? And then people started asking, can I become one? What does it take to become one? And I can't tell you like that it drove so much motivation in the top 100, 200 people at Zomato at that time. It was amazing to see that. So yeah, very, very interesting and very beneficial.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic because like most of the startups, the founding team, they are the founders, and then how do you bring a new co-founder? It's kind of oftentimes it's very hard to integrate someone from outside to a founding team, and they have their own agenda, and sometimes you click with one of the co-founders but what not with the other, right? So it becomes political wars between the founders so the new co-founder can bring in on board. How was your integration, or like what are the best practices to join an existing co-founding team and be efficient?
So two, three things that I would say. I think it works both ways. So I alone could not have done anything. For Dipinder, who was actually building Zomato to share the stage with me, like a founder, was also a very big thing to say about him, right? As to what he felt about how should a team be built and what should be done. So I think I showed some tenets of doing that, and he created that space for me to actually operate like that, and then also accept me and be maybe one of the founders as well. That's one. So it works both ways. You need to be an ecosystem like that to become one. And I think I would tell people to be very, very careful and thoughtful about who they want to work with and build with. People like to work with people they like, right? It's very clear. And I think people don't join companies, people don't join missions, people join people, in my view. And I think that's what I did in this case. And I think we just got together really well. And we were very complementary also in that sense. So I used to do things that I was really good at, and Dipinder used to focus on things that he was really good at. And it just worked really well for us. The second thing I would say is that in a startup environment, especially from where I was coming from, you have to be very adaptive. You have to be very open minded. No matter how much experience, knowledge you have, you just have to come with a very clean slate, and you have to be open to listening and accepting. That works for the person coming in, and that also works for the team receiving that person. Any one of them being not open to listening each other, it just fall apart. And I think that's what happens in most cases, in my view. People either have too much baggage of what they've done and they like to do the things the same way they've been doing, or the people this like on the other side also say, oh yeah, we know how this works, I don't think you know how this works. And I think that is where the friction comes. You have to be open, you have to be adaptive. And I always say this, like, context is the most important thing for a solution. If you ask me today, like, what is the solution I picked up exactly from Zomato and implemented in Gabit, I won't be able to tell you anything because the context of Gabit is very different from Zomato. So the principles will be similar, but I have to think about what will work in this context, right? So this philosophy of I know this, I've done this, I'll do it like this. I don't think it works anywhere.
And when you guys were launching new products, was it did you consider it as a pivot, or was it just an extension, or like made sense to add these new business lines?
No, it completely made sense. So we were actually at that time at Zomato, we were building the whole food ecosystem, the restaurant-led food ecosystem. So it was like the vision also was better food for everyone. So we already had search and discovery. So everybody going through a restaurant, eating from outside, had a Zomato app on their phones, and we said, okay, we should open more transactions. So online food ordering made sense, table reservation made sense. Then we said we should actually try to improve the quality of food at restaurants. So supplying high quality raw material consistently made sense for restaurants because that was disaggregated and that was a pain point for restaurants. The loyalty program also we launched was within the restaurant ecosystem, which worked really well. So it was all about food, it was all about the restaurant ecosystem, so it made a lot of sense. And then honestly we actually prioritized and said what should we focus on, what is the highest impact, highest growth areas, and we should focus on that. And I think that's what we did from 2018 onwards till 21, and it just paid huge benefits to us.
Mhm. But in a way, it's on it totally makes sense to have the whole ecosystem in one product. You don't see it in US, right? Like you have Open Table for table reservation, you have DoorDash for the delivery. It's kind of now we see that DoorDash is kind of acquiring different companies to into their suite. But why do you think in US it wasn't done before India?
I don't know why it was not done before, but Yuri, honestly, if you can deliver a great experience, you should be doing it for a customer. And I'll tell you
Mm,
why that makes sense. I think it fails when you're not able to give a superior experience in your second or third product to a customer. And then people
mm,
start looking for alternatives. So from a business perspective, I think you've acquired that customer. You
yes,
if you can actually in related areas service more of their wallet share, that is the best from building a business standpoint. So
yes,
that is, I think, fundamentally the one of the reasons why it should be done. And the second is, I think we should think about human psychology. As humans, we like to put the least effort into anything to get the maximum impact. That means we like things easy, which means rather than having four apps
yeah,
to dealing with food outside my home, I should have one where I can do that. So if I'm going out, I have one app, the same app. If I am actually eating in or ordering in, I have a different app in the US. So I think that UX is flawed. So it
yes,
only comes down to executing well. If you can execute well and deliver superior experience, that one ecosystem should stay within a consumer. That is how Zomato is. And now that I'm speaking to you, I've realized, of course, that Gabit is a similar ecosystem for health. And I think
yeah.
that's why it works beautifully rather than doing something isolated.
Mm. And did you go from the consumer or from the restaurant perspective? Like, how did you grow rapidly?
So I would say when you design any business, there will always be multiple stakeholders. But what I've realized is the focal point has to be the customer. When you design an ecosystem, the focal point has always be the customer. So you start from there. And then you make sure that to deliver the best experience for a customer, you also optimize the operations, the benefits to the rest of the ecosystem so that they can survive. So it started with the customer. What is the experience that we want to deliver, in how much time, what kind of restaurants, what kind of options, and then we built out the entire restaurant ecosystem around it or enabled the entire restaurant ecosystem around it. Growth definitely comes from both. You can't have demand but you not supply, like that doesn't work. So you have to have customers asking for food and you have to have restaurants offering that food. So I think we grew well because of getting customers as well as more cities or more restaurants on the ecosystem. But when you start designing a product and a proposition, I think in my experience, it's always centered around a customer and then you start to.
And how big is Zomato these days?
Oh, Zomato these days. Zomato is, as I said, it's publicly listed now. It's valued at around $33 billion in India. Should be doing, I think, 3 million orders a day of food delivery alone. That's one large part of the business. The other part of the business that Zomato has added now is quick delivery. So it's quick commerce delivery. So you can actually order
Mhm.
grocery and you get it in 8-10 minutes. So
Wow.
in fact, that part of Zomato is called Blinkit. That part of
Mm.
Zomato is as valuable as the food delivery business already. So it's both of them which are the most valuable part of the
Was
business.
it merged or was it developed in house?
So in fact, interestingly, we had acquired that company. So there
Right.
was another
Yeah.
grocery startup called Grofers. Zomato acquired it and transformed into Blinkit. So
Mm.
overnight, changed the name, changed the proposition from same day or next day delivery to 8 to 10 minutes delivery, and it just did really well. So it is a market leader in that space in India as well.
Nice. Very good.
And I think it's done well because again, the same principles of Zomato, focus on customers, great UX, great experience, was just transferred here seamlessly over the next whatever 2 3 months after acquisition.
And why introduce a different brand? Why not do it within the same app?
So if you understand, like earlier we were talking about the restaurant food eating out ecosystem. Now this is a different proposition from that. This is actually getting grocery into your house. And I think from that perspective, it made sense. And secondly, when you're establishing a proposition which is like fast delivery within 8 10 minutes, blink it. When the food arrives before you blink, the grocery arrives before you blink. I think that was the proposition that we want to just propel.
I see. That's great. So you guys build a massive company, and you chose to exit and kind of start a new venture. How did you decide? Okay, I'm doing a new thing. I'm not continuing because like you guys could grow even further and you could stay with the company. What was in your mind? Like, what was the trigger? Okay, I'm starting my own, doing new thing.
So this happened around COVID, and it's very interesting. So I used to travel a lot at consulting and Zomato. There was international business, there was fundraising, all of that. And in COVID, it was a forced pause. My travel stopped. And for the first time in my life, I fell into a rhythm of working out regularly, eating better food, sleeping at home, not on flights, and my health dramatically improved. I lost 15 kgs or 30 pounds. Metabolic age came down by 14 years. So I was 49 metabolically when I was 39. And now I'm actually 35 metabolically when I'm 44. And it just seemed magical to me, Yuri. And I realized that these four pillars fitness, sleep, nutrition, and stress they're magical. Any health goal that you want to achieve, or if you want to stay healthy, they can actually do a lot for you. And I decided at the right time I would like to build a company or a mission which can do this for millions of people. Like, and there's nothing better that you can do with your capabilities to help people live healthier longer. So after the IPO, Zomato was in a great place. I was in a great place, and I decided to start again and build in health for this mission.
So when you were starting, are you the sole co-founder or you have additional founders,
So we
kind of
have we are two
co-founders?
founders. Yeah, we are two
Okay.
founders, and me and my wife.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is also kind of something to discuss. You know, like many investors, they don't like co-founders, man and wife, because what happens if that relationship ends? Right. But there are also very good success stories that we can see, like House, for example, one of the unicorns. So cool. And so you decided to start a new venture. Why did you involve your wife into this?
So my wife has also. So I'll give you a bit of background. So she went to the
Okay.
same business school as mine,
Yeah.
and then she went to McKinsey. So when I went to Carney, she went to McKinsey to do consulting, and then she actually built her own education tech startup, which she
Mm.
exited and sold off. And during COVID, she was thinking of starting up again with a new
Mhm.
idea. And she's been super passionate about health for a long time. And it so happened that she was very focused and passionate about health as a space, and I was also very focused and passionate about this space. And we said, if you're so passionate about the same space, and we're actually quite complementary in our skills and how we operate in some bit as well, we said, why not do this together? And it made a lot of sense because in a co-founder, what you look for is trust and time. I don't think you can get more trust and time in a co-founder than your partner. So and I've actually built Zomato with like 3 4 of them, and that was an amazing. We're like brothers. That was an amazing relationship. But this is a different level altogether. Like here, any discussion is so objective. It's only about the business. It cannot have any other meaning. So I think we're enjoying that. And secondly, I also feel that if you're mature enough and you can actually make it work, relationships get better when you understand each other better. When I was building Zomato, she was building her own thing. We literally used to meet like half an hour in a week. Now we see each other 12 hours a day. And I think our relationship or understanding of each other is only getting better because of the time we're spending together. So honestly, for business, it is great. It's working very well for us. And as you said, there are a lot of success stories in India as well, where couples have come together, build unicorns. And I think one of the biggest reasons of most startups not working out, otherwise, is also co-founders not getting along. So I think if you just do a probability, the couple startup would have a higher probability of coexisting than the non-couple ones. I think so, because there's an extra bond.
Maybe. Again, we'll not go into divorces, etc. Right? Kind of uh, chances to for people to get divorced are quite high in current lives. And do you guys have kids? How do you?
Yeah, we have a daughter. She's 14 years old. Yeah.
So now like you're all into work, then how do you find time and balance? And when do you discuss work and when do you discuss the family stuff? It's all like blends into one.
And I think honestly, that is actually quite beautiful. So, by the way, it also used to happen during Zomato days because when you're building a mission, you're very driven by it, and work and life sort of together comes together, and they actually morph into each other. And what I've realized is that whatever is important to me, I should be able to take out time whenever I want to. And my life should be designed like that. So I think that's what we try to do. I don't think I've faced any issues with that ever. And I think it's just become better because when we actually try to distinguish between our work, between, let's say, just a weekday, these are the hours we can do stuff, and this is the weekend, this is what we can do. I think it just gets very, very complicated. Having said that, what I've also realized is COVID was a great time for us. So as in COVID, as a family, we spent a lot of time together, and our daughter spent a lot of time with us, and we could talk about a lot of things. So rather than she spending that time with school, we're actually quite spending a lot of time together, and we saw how her thinking further evolved and what she would want to do. So in fact, today we have such intelligent and conversation in the house about building companies, what we should be do, and I think I'm sure our daughter is feeding off it, and she might come up with a much better one when she grows up.
Yeah, yeah. We are working on VNTR Kids programming so that the kids start earlier and work better with the parents to build legacy. Yeah,
Yeah.
but very cool. And so you guys decided to start a new venture together. Then what is the journey like? What did you do in order to kick off the venture?
So we literally spent the first 8-10 months just thinking about how to build this. So and that is of course coming from some of the experience of building the earlier ones, where we thought it was important that till now, at that point, we had only mine and her journey in health, but that's not enough. We need to understand what are customers asking for, what are they missing today. So we spent 8 to 10 months, met a lot of founders, doctors, scientists. We were very clear we're building in health, but we were not very clear on how to build it. And then we figured a couple of very interesting things. One, these four pillars, fitness, nutrition, sleep, and stress, are very powerful for any health goal. So diabetes, hypertension, weight loss, anything that you can think about, they are the key goals. But the more interesting part that we figured was that they're all interconnected. They feed off
Yeah,
each other scientifically in your body. Whereas when we look at startups or offerings around us, they were very isolated. So somebody
yeah,
was solving for sleep, somebody was solving for fitness, somebody was solving for nutrition, whereas they are very, very connected. So it was a very big opportunity for us, and it was very clear that you have to solve for these pillars together to do that. Just to give you an example, like at night when you actually are sleeping very late or you're not sleeping in time, you like to eat something junk, like do that, and people like to believe that that's because I like that kind of food. Actually, that's not the case. There are neurotransmitters in your brain which are telling you to eat something which is high fat, high carbs, which is comfort, because you're putting your body through discomfort. So it's scientifically you will actually increase weight if you don't sleep on time, right? And people don't realize that. Like when you do fitness, when you actually work out, it actually builds and breaks collagen in your body, which is great for skin. People keep eating collagen externally without any workout, it won't have any impact. So I think it was just fascinating to see how it's all interconnected. And we said these are four pillars we want to build in. And the second thing we realized was that like habits. So good habits take time to show results, and that's why people drop off. Bad habits, coffee, smoking, alcohol, give you a kick right away, and you keep doing it for that real time feedback. So we realized that some sort of feedback is super important for keeping people on the journey, and more importantly, you can't improve something you can't measure. So we figured that tracking is super important. So we built or based Gabit on these two theses, that these four pillars are important for every solution, and tracking has to be the starting point or an important part of the journey. And we've started building using those theses. We built for a couple of years the entire platform, which was integrated, and the entire offering. And we launched the venture for customers in India last year in January. And very recently, we took the platform also to UAE and the US with our hero product, which is our wearable, which is the smart ring.
Amazing. So, when you want to solve four pillars at the same time, which one did you choose as the first one, or you started working on all at once?
So you will only get impact if you work on all of them. So if, for example, you're trying to address any health goal, like let's say diabetes, hypertension, or even weight loss, you can't just work on your fitness. You will not see the impact. You have to work on your fitness. You have to work on nutrition. You have to sleep properly, and you have to manage your stress. So starting with just one is a suboptimal approach, and where you will actually be frustrated and you'll not go through with it. So we said, how can we design solution which have everything in it? So I'll tell you how we thought about it. So we said, okay, first of all, let's make life for people easy when they're starting on a health journey. So till that point, most of the startups, I'll tell you what they were doing. They were essentially giving you fitness plans and nutrition plans with coaches. Now that is like saying, I'll give you pain, you give me some money for that. It doesn't work. People don't like changes in their life. So we said, what is the easiest way to start on your journey? And we figured that if you just buy a ring or a wearable like this online, put it on your finger, easiest way to start your journey. And then you start looking at your data. And what we did was, we said we will integrate all the four pillars onto this wearable. So till we did that, most of the wearables used to focus on one of the pillars. Like Aura focuses on sleep, Woo focuses a lot on performance. But we said, for us, all four are important. So we actually built the ring with fitness, sleep, stress, and we also bolted on nutrition on it. It is probably one of the first which focuses on nutrition so strongly. So we have built an
Mhm.
AI based, speech based food logging feature. You can just speak into the app to log your food, like three scrambled egg for breakfast, chicken salad for dinner. That's how I log my food. I get my macros like carbs, protein, fiber, and fat, and I also get my calorie in the day, whether I'm deficit or surplus. Now, once you start using this, you start seeing your data. It's hyper personalized because your data. You start figuring out what's not working. Okay, I'm not sleeping enough. Oh, this is not right. And then people want to fix that. That's the best way to start on their journey. And that's how we build that solution. Then we said people still need help. So we built experts. Then we said let them come through the tracking and then take expert help, because now they realize that they need to fix something. And then we've also built products to help people. So we address healthy skin as a goal. So we got skin products for them for all skin cuts and skin types. And very soon we're launching nutrition supplements as well. So because we believe that if we understand customers strongly, then we should be able to guide them on what's the best thing for them.
So you chose to build hardware, right? It's kind of and to build the ring, right? It's kind of there are some successful companies with a ring as part of their offering. Why ring and why not kind of some other wearable? And does ring solves everything, right? It's kind of in order to have the whole ecosystem. Do you feel like there should be yet another device on the body?
Interesting. So why ring? So it was again, customer is the focal point. So we were thinking, what is the best wearable for a customer? One factor was sleep was very important to track. When we talked to customers, we realized 90% people cannot sleep with a band or a watch on their hand. So if you can't do that, then sleep is totally missed out. So that was one big factor. The second factor was essentially around convenience. Can you guess what is the biggest reason why people stop using the wearable?
Yeah, it's inconvenient. Or battery. I didn't use lots of devices because of the battery. Like it would die so quickly, and I forget to charge and I don't use it.
Exactly. If you have to charge your wearable every day, it is such bad UX. So we said we have to, of course, we have to build an accurate, sturdy, durable device, but we also need to make sure UX is good. So we figured that in the ring, we can do that. And that's why we designed the ring. which is actually 7 to 10 days battery life. So even the leading players today have at least 5 to 6 or maximum 7 days of battery life now in the newest versions. So I think that was important for us. And that's why we actually built in the ring. And then last but not the least, when we read research papers, we realized that in a band or a watch, you're actually placing the band of the watch here, but the data comes from here. So it has to travel all this noise in your hand to get to the right data. Whereas in a ring, the sensors are here and the data is right here. So scientifically, there actually research people will say that because of the contact point proximity, rings are actually designed to be more accurate than bands or wearables. So that's why the ring.
Does it matter which finger you put the ring on?
So again,
Convenience is also like
exactly.
not on every finger it's convenient.
So till that time, I used to hear this from every ring player that you can only wear it on your index finger of the non-dominant hand. But I'm like, I want people to use this. If people not feel comfortable, different people wear rings on different fingers. So we actually worked a lot on algorithms so that you can wear it in any finger and you will get the same reading. So in our ring, you can actually wear it in any finger based on your size, and it works in all of them. To your question about do you need anything else besides the ring? Again, I always keep the customer at the focal point. So in my view, ideally, you should not need anything besides this in the future to actually get your health parameters in. But today, that's not the case. So today, and that's why at Gabit also we've designed a system which has not just the ring, it has the ring. It has, we also have a smart scale, which gives your body composition,
Yes.
your fat composition, your muscle mass. Then we also have continuous glucose monitoring that we've integrated with Abbott. And we also have blood test on the platform. So we have taken all these four different modes on one platform, and Gabit is unique, by the way, globally. You don't see any platform which does this across the board, but we think it's very important. So you can track 150 plus biomarkers and health markers on Gabit to really assess your health before you start on your expert journey with exports of products.
What about blood pressure? It's kind of how do you deal with blood pressure?
So today we don't track that. Customers track it with their own devices. That's a very good point. And I was coming to that in the future, for example, the glucose, we will take it away from the patch to the ring. Blood pressure is coming in our one of the next version of the rings. So you will see that slowly, in fact, even body composition can be done. You don't need a smart scale for that. So I think this technology is just starting in our view. It can evolve so much that most of the stuff, except for, of course, some of the blood markers that you can't get from non-invasive devices, you will see it coming on the ring or any other form factor. I would say. I think we're not wedded to the ring. We believe that we should be wedded to tracking as a thesis, and we should build the right products for tracking for customers. And right now, it seems to be the ring.
Very good. Okay, so kind of you built a new platform. Now, like, how do you scale it, right? So you started in India. It's a huge market. Why do you go out of India so quickly?
So let's talk about India and what we did there. So when in health, you need to build trust and depth. That's super important. And we said, how can we do that? So we, in fact, partnered with experts in this field. So the best nutrition coach in the country, the best fitness coach in the country, were actually part of Gabit from day one. And they helped us build the programs. And then they actually talked about the programs well. And I fundamentally believe that a great product and great storytelling are both needed. You can't have any of them. And by great storytelling, I mean authentic storytelling. But you need credible people to talk about it. So I think that is a playbook we used in India, which worked really well. And in less than 18 months' time, you're right, we are one of the leading wearables players and a health tech company in India today, and having a lot of customers. And I think the potential is massive. The potential is also massive, Yuri, because we worked a lot on another parameter, which is affordability. We believe health should be accessible to anyone. And my learning from Zomato is that you have to build aspirational products, but also make them affordable. Otherwise, you don't scale. So till we came into the picture, in India, all the rings available for $350 and above. That's a lot for the Indian market. And we worked hard to build a similar or a better product at $140 in the market. We offer it for $140 in the market. And no subscription cost. By the way, the others also have subscription costs. And I think that just amazed people. So the initial curiosity was, how come this product seems to be so good, but so affordable? Yeah, and I think just took it from there. So I think we have actually helped shape the industry a lot as well. It's still very nascent, I would say, but now more and more people are adopting it. More than 40% of our customers are over 40 years of age. It doesn't happen for a wearable, in my view. That's only because it's affordable. We designed the UI to be very simple so people can understand numbers. There's another feedback that we got for other players, that you can't even understand the basic numbers. The UI is actually very difficult to understand, very complicated. So I think India has a lot of potential and we'll keep doing that. Having said that, the product feedback is amazing compared to all other competitors globally. And if we have such a good product and feedback, if the market potential of India is X, the market potential sitting outside of India for something like this is actually 50 to 100x. And I think if we have a great product which is matching or beating the quality of other products, we want to make sure that we take it to customers sooner than later. And again, it comes back to execution, like we discussed earlier. I think if we're able to execute well, we'll be able to deliver superior experience and win that market.
Yeah. And in India, do you have multiple offices or you operate out of single location?
So we operate out of a single location, but we have supply chain networks set up in 3 key cities in India to service entire India.
Mm, okay. So, when you go to new markets, it's new complexity of establishing new offices, new distribution channels, right? So, how do you tackle that? Let's discuss US market. Like, what does it take to take a product from different market to US? What do you need to do in order to make it happen?
So I think first of all, you have to internalize the fact that you need to understand that market. So you need to actually, before you do anything, you have to spend a lot of time understanding the consumer behavior in that market. And there's no better way to do that than actually to be here. So I personally have been spending a lot of time in that market for the last 3 years since we started, because we knew we had to get to that point. So that is number one. Second, you have to adapt the contextual part of your products to the market. So there are some user behaviors that will be unique to their market, while some things will be similar. For example, in our case, the food database is very important. So we built a ground up food database of dishes which has macros, micros, and every dish has a score in it. So just to give you an example, I realize that people don't understand which dish is healthy and not healthy because there's so many data to look at. So we said, how should we simplify again for a customer? So we have designed a food score for every dish in our database using 3 macros and all the 20 micros. Every dish has a score. And when you log food in our app, you get a red, yellow, or green, depending on whether it's a good dish for you or not. So we've built that for the last 3.5 years for India, and the first thing we had to do was scale it. So we spent the last 8-10 months scaling it up for the US as well. So that's kind of adaptation you do for the product.
Because it's also very different food and dishes in US, right? Much less healthier, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that gap is also diminishing with time since we get all the influence now. If I would have done this like 20 years back, the database would have been very different. Today, of course, there's a lot of commonality. And then I think you find the right partners. For example, we force ourselves to find the right supply chain partners to set up the distribution. And last but not the least, you have to understand what kind of playbook would work in that market, right? And I think for me, it's very important that we are able to establish trust in that market, and the depth comes from a product which is already there. So, and the trust comes from having the right people on board, talking about the product, and more importantly, people using the product. So, in our case, also, once people started using the product and people started talking about it and reviewing about it, I think it did well. Before launching the US market, Yuri, we had actually given the product to almost like 50 health influencers, experts in these markets to test it out, give us feedback so we can work on that feedback. I think that kind of diligence or rigor is important to launch any market.
Is it good to do it before you have the product in the market? Kind of, they could already brag about it and you could sell. Or you think it's good to start with just customer feedback before product is in the market?
So before you start selling a product in the market, you better have feedback for the product from people in that market. So I think there's a close network of people that we actually reached out to, and they agreed to actually collaborate. And we actually, it was like a beta test for like 1,500 users. But one should definitely do that.
Yeah. So in Zomato time, you guys raised an enormous amount of money to make it happen. What is the journey with Gabit, and kind of what were the similarities or differences in terms of fundraising, work with investors? How do you see that?
So I think there are always similarities. So at Zomato, you're right. We almost raised before IPO, we raised like a couple of $1 billion from the who's who. So Sequoia, Temasek, and Financial, all of that. And I think it was a very interesting journey to actually grow from where we were. In Gabit, we've actually raised our first seed round when we started, when it was an idea. We got it from Norwest. So we raised it from Norwest at that time. But I think one principle that's remained same is that whenever we are choosing a partner to invest into Zomato or Gabit, it is like almost like choosing like a co-founder. The person has to have belief in the product, because we all know this is a super difficult journey. We're all crazy to be founders and be founders again, right? Because it is, I say this, like, the being a founder is the best thing you can do to yourself and the worst thing you can do to yourself. So I think the fact that we love it so much that we do it, you need people who believe in you and will stand by you in all the times that the journey would go through. So I think that's been super important for me, and I've been fortunate enough to actually have the right people on board. Even Norwich has been a great partner to us, and especially in the first 2 3 phases when you're trying to find product market fit, you need understanding, belief, and space, and we had all of that. The one thing that is slightly different is, to be honest, is that I've realized while I'm building Gabit, if I have people coming on board with capital, but who can also help Gabit grow, it's a multiplier effect, right? So, for example, either they can help Gabit grow in terms of getting the word out about Gabit, because let's say they're a celebrity or they're a massive influencer or somebody who has actually that kind of reach with customers, or they actually have the natural ability to help open doors in new markets when we go to new markets. So at Gabit, my part of my journey of actually raising capital, and when we think about our next round, all of that has been, who can I get on board, who can of course get the capital, but it can also literally help us do really well. And I think at that I've enjoyed. So
How do you measure the impact they can bring to you? It's kind of it's hypothetical impact, right? So,
yeah, yeah. So I think in some cases hypothetical and some cases actually real. So I'll tell you both categories. So for example, one of them has been on the celebrity side. So for example, we recently got a brand ambassador on board in Gabit in India. His name is Ranbir Kapoor. He's a top Bollywood celebrity in India. The idea was to understand how can we actually work together to actually take the brand of like Gabit to the people and actually make that understand. And we met, we spoke about it, and once we spoke about it, Ranbir came back with saying that I want to come in as a brand ambassador. And I already mentioned that we will actually do a majority equity deal because we're an early stage startup, and we will not really like to give so much cash right now. Plus, we also want skin in the game. And I had said we'll do majority equity and some cash. And he came back once he heard about Gabit and understood it from me, saying, I want to come in at 100% equity. And he also invested his own personal money into the venture. Now that is amazing for us. Again, once he's come out and said, I wear Gabit and I use Gabit and I'm an ambassador of Gabit, the brand has actually taken off really well. And this is even better because he's a believer and he's helping us grow further. So this kind of equity or capital into the business is very useful. So that's very clear. The other part is essentially, for example, like funds which are there in international markets. Like let's say funds in the US, funds in Europe, funds in the Middle East region. Some of these funds and of course partners in these funds have very good networks in the market. So when we go to these markets, if you were, for example, looking for partners from a retail standpoint or from any other standpoint, that can be very, very useful for us. And I think, in my view, I think
not every fund has these relationships, right? So you need to assess if they do have these relationships,
yes, you definitely
or
need to assess that you
yeah.
have a relationship. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of the roadmap, like how long do you think it's gonna take you to exit or IPO or do M&A? Like, what is the journey that you envision for Gabit?
So the journey at Gabit as I envision is to leave a legacy behind when I'm gone, and it's a massively loved, impactful health company for the world, and because our vision is also saying help everyone live healthier and longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to do. And that's the vision we
Mm-hmm.
want to keep building to. And I think honestly, in the next 5 to 7 like years, we want to be one of the top 3 4 players in this space, whether it's wearables, whether it's all the whole health tech ecosystem. And honestly, you read the one metric that we like to measure and talk about is how many years of healthy life have we added to people over the, let's say, last
Mm-hmm.
3 years of work. So I think, and we just like to talk about it. It's just an estimate. It's very difficult to actually quantify, but it actually gives us a sense and a sense of purpose of doing something. Eventually, of course, at some point we'll do the IPO and we'll keep taking the company forward. But that's how I think about this. And then, honestly, while building this, there's of course a joy of building a startup, building a mission for the world. But the joy is even more because when I see a ring on somebody's hand, when it's Gabit, it's a founder's delight. But I also feel great about the fact that it's helping them live healthier
Yeah.
and their
Mm-hmm.
family. And I think they must be thanking us for this. right? So the amount of karma that we earn as a team is phenomenal. And on the back of this, I'm getting healthier, my wife's getting healthier, my daughter's getting healthier, my
Yeah.
team's getting healthier. So it has multiple positive ramifications. I think that's what we love, and I think that's what our partners also love when they stand by us, because it's health, it's tech, is the future. It actually makes everyone look good and feel good because we're doing some good work.
Yeah. Do you see yourself expanding into the health tech system, same like in Zomato, right? In Zomato, you went and provided software and a way to better deliver to the customers. Do you see yourself connecting the customer with the health tech or health system so that they treat or kind of support your customers better?
Yeah, so I think I can't foresee or I can project what all we will do. But if you really ask me, there's some of the things that we can also see happening today. Like a lot of people have started asking for the ring for people already going through a medical procedure. Once they leave a hospital, they want people to track their basic health marker. This is the best and the easiest way to track. And by the way, everybody's very comfortable wearing rings, right? And we believe that these are the rings that people should get exchange vows with now, because this is the best gift you can give to anyone. So from that perspective, I see a lot of positive integration of this product already into the medical space. I don't think we'll actually get into a software business or a SaaS business for medical hospital or anything like that. But I think from the ability to remote monitor or help people monitor. So, for example, gifting is a big use case for us. So, a lot of we realize a lot of kids are gifted to their parents when they're not staying with them. So it helps them get the comfort that okay, they're sleeping properly. Yes, through the health. Yeah.
Wedding ring edition would be useful.
Yes, absolutely. We're working on that. But I agree with you. I think these are the rings you should exchange your vows with, giving better health to your partner.
Sounds like it's not just health, it's longevity as well, right? So, what do you think about all the longevity activities happening around the world and biohacking? Kind of, your product should be part of that movement in a way, right? So, what are you guys doing in that sense?
So our product is part of that movement, and what I love about this movement is that at least it's raising the right questions and making people think. Like some of these things are actually changing the paradigm of how we think about our age. So I keep telling people, stop asking people's actual age. When you meet someone, introduce yourself, ask their metabolic age. You'll actually do service, like better service to both of you. The way we are actually contributing to this is fundamentally slightly different in the sense that we actually focus a lot on good habits. My
Mm.
philosophy, Yuri, has been, and my learning has been that rather than picking up faddish stuff time and again, like I pick up something today that I read about today and I want to do it for the next few days, and then I get bored with it or it's difficult to follow, I drop it, I get frustrated out of it. We want people to pick up stuff or habits or behaviors that they can follow for life. Then is where the multiplier effect comes in. So I think, and there also we tell people choose the basic stuff. Like you don't need to go to the extremes to stuff. For example, what is very clear in scientific papers everywhere is that moving or exercising regularly is massively beneficial. It's the most important medicine you can give to your body, right? So you should do something about it. The other principle I would say is excessive of anything is not good, either in workouts or in food. So you should keep that in mind, right? The third is, which is the counter to the, which is diversity is very important in anything that you do. Like a lot of people talk about, I don't want to eat this kind of food, I don't want to eat this kind of food, but every type of food has some nutrients in it. If you don't take that, you're missing out on the nutrients. You need to have a diverse perspective on nutrition. You also need to have a diverse perspective on workouts. Strength workouts have a role to play, running has a role to play, yoga has a role to play, but I think people miss that and they just follow one and just keep doing that. So I think some of these basic principles are so first principle that you can't deny them. I think people should just follow them and pick what they can do on a longer basis. So I think that's what we're trying to do. But again, with a strong focus on measuring yourself first. And that too simply, not going through, you don't have to go through a physical center to actually track yourself. You can just like put this on your finger and we'll help you track yourself. And then you figure out what you want to change.
Can we talk about AI and kind of what AI components you already incorporated, and where do you see AI being integrated into your platform?
So AI, of course, is like amazingly powerful in its current avatar. It was already powerful earlier, but in the current avatar, it can interact and actually be very, very user friendly. We've actually done a few things with AI already in our ring. So we, again, one, we used it to make life simple. So the food logging feature, everybody wants to use it, Yuri, but nobody wants to use it because it's very cumbersome. You have to type, you take pictures, and they're not accurate. So we said, what is the way we can make it simple? So we said everything is moving towards speech. You speak to, like, for everything today. So we built probably the first one, which is a AI based, voice based food logging. And because it's AI based, it's very smart. You don't have to do much. So it traverses languages, and you can just speak into the app. It recognizes everything, and then we have a database that we've linked in, so it logs your food. So it made food logging very simple. So that's one thing we did.
I need the phone, right? It's kind of it doesn't work just with the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, you need a phone right now. Maybe at some point now you can have a microphone in the ring, but right now you need the phone. The second thing we did was, we realized a lot of people were asking a lot of questions. Okay, I see these health metrics. Like, what do they mean? How do I improve them? Were they bad yesterday or not? And how does my fitness impact my sleep? You say it's connected, but how do I know how to? So we said, now we how do we answer this at scale, and that to personalize? And there's where we actually used AI. So we built an AI health coach called Pep. You can talk to it about all these things, right? So it's very simple. So I think these are two things we have done right now. But I think one of the most interesting thing that we're now working on, which I think is going to be path breaking, is using all the power of AI. So we got all these 150 biomarkers or health markers for users, or a proportion of them or a subset of them, depending on what you do with us. Based on that, we want to actually use AI to be able to predict whether somebody has a risk of a heart disease or a liver disease in the future or not. So we're working on that right now. We put a scientific advisory council from people from Harvard and similar pedigree institutes. And I'm very excited about working on that because I believe this is very powerful, personalized data about one's health. And we should be able to identify patterns for them to do early detection of risk before it becomes too late. And we can actually guide them saying, we think that you have a higher risk. You need to get a detailed screening done for this kind of a particular issue. So that's what we're doing.
Mm. We also discussed the DNA, right? Kind of how do you, because every person is different, not every treatment is the same, right? Kind of the next generation is how do I personalize everything for each individual, right? So do you plan to incorporate anything related to the DNA of humans?
Yes. So, as part of tracking, we plan to integrate that as well. In fact, we also plan
Mm.
to integrate something around food intolerance and all of that because that's very important. My only challenge
Allergies, yeah.
right now, Yuri, is that the DNA methodology, or the more importantly, the outcome right now is very probabilistic. So we
Mm.
need to make it more definite in terms of what does it mean for an action for a user. So, for example, in our case, what we are building today is you have all these markers on one side. Using them, we actually assess, let's say, a biological age or a pace of aging for a customer, and then based on that, we give them recommendations totally personalized on what you should be doing. And from that, once you do them, you can actually again see what your markers look like, and then keep doing this journey. And that's why the Gabit ecosystem is so powerful. So we are building that right now, and in this, you can feed in new metrics that can come in, let's say a DNA or any other test. But I want to only do it when I can do two things. One, get something definite out which is useful, not
Yeah.
just good to have. And secondly,
Yeah.
make it affordable. Because if it's not affordable, it'll not be accessible to most and it'll not scale. And I think those two are the challenges with gene tests today that we need to solve for.
Okay, cool. So sounds like Gabit is transforming your work-life balance, or let's say your life balance. In terms of your work and life balance, like what do you do? Like I suppose Gabit is recommending you to do certain things, but what in reality are your habits?
Got it. So some of the very interesting changes happened on that front. And I'll tell you the contrary part. So first of all, the ability to do anything comes from just priority in life. Before building Gabit, my priorities were different. And after starting to build Gabit, my priorities are different. And the biggest difference is that number one priority above everyone has become health, even for my family or my work. And that's because if I'm not healthy, I'm not available to my family, my daughter, my work, colleagues, friends, anyone. So that's become very clear to me. And this just changed my paradigm and my world from that perspective. So, for example, when I used to build Zomato, sleep didn't care about it. I said, like, you're a superhero. If you can sleep less, have more working hours, you're amazing. That's completely changed in mindset. I think it was a completely wrong mindset. Today, I know if I don't get my 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep, I will not be as productive as I should be. So that's become a priority for me. For example, in the morning, like 1.5, 2 hours of my workout and the morning routine that I have, it's become priority. Now I don't compromise on these two things, and after that, I do as much work as I want to. So I think that's how things have changed. So and it's very interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I have much more energy and much more productive hours than I used to have earlier, and that's the big change.
And when you travel, does it change your priorities?
When I
Because
travel,
you're.
I try not to change my priorities. But yeah, of course, on a flight, and the flight is only for 6 hours, you'll see for 5 hours. But then you actually cover up the next day, right? So I think you have to cover up for that. Thankfully, travel has come down now because of Zoom calls. We can do a podcast like this, so you don't have to travel for every
Yeah.
meeting, and you agree on some non-negotiables, right? So I think that's what it is.
Cool. Great. I think it was amazing to hear about your journey and your story. I hope you're gonna make it to our Global Investor Summit in Lisbon on November 11th, and we'll see each other around the world. And thanks for joining our club as well. Already, hope you see the value we bring to your life. We are not Gabit, not a ring, but we are a powerful network of like-minded people. Good. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining, and we will see you soon around the world. Yes.
Thank you, Yuri.